Welcome, everybody. This is the Telarus Tuesday call for January 28th, 2020. Today is National Data Privacy Day, the purpose of which is to raise awareness of and to promote privacy and data protection best practices. A great day to learn to protect yourself, your family, your devices, and your business against the unauthorized use, collection, and sharing of private information in our digital society. And in breaking related news, scientists have confirmed receiving the first message from deep space. It reads, "We have updated our privacy policy." Oh my gosh. In order to assure your privacy, I recommend immediately renaming your dog. Telarus cares. I'm Doug Miller, the voice of Telarus, and your affable host for the Tuesday call. Looking good, feeling good, and smelling terrific. Today's call features Telarus Co-Founder and Chief Product Officer Patrick Oborn, along with Koby Phillips, Telarus VP of Business Development for Digital Edge and Cloud. Koby and Patrick are here with part 2 of our special Telarus series about our suppliers, who they are, what they offer, and how to determine the correct solutions for your clients among the many available options. Today, our focus is on digital edge and cloud computing. Koby and Patrick are here. That presentation is coming up in just moments. Also on the call, we'll add one more to the Telarus supplier portfolio by announcing the launch of a brand new supplier. It's active shooting defense technology from Defendry, AI threat detection software and technology designed to stop active shooters and to save lives. This is very timely and important information. An introduction to our new Defendry partnership is coming up in just minutes. If you happen to miss last week's Telarus Tuesday call, we were joined by Patrick Oborn with part 1 of this supplier-oriented series of calls. Patrick introduced us to the Telarus portfolio of unified communications and contact center suppliers, a terrific and frank analysis of the current market, opportunities, and available solutions for UCaaS and CCaaS opportunities from our Telarus suppliers. The recording of Patrick's presentation is available now in the Telarus Partner Back Office. Also, during last Tuesday's call, we introduced you to new Telarus supplier Peerless Network, the UCaaS platform your clients control. Your customers can bring all of their phone systems onto the Peerless best-in-class UCaaS platform, Cloud PBX on Peerless Portal, with automatic device provisioning, full suite of features, and no contracts. That launch call was held last Wednesday, and the recording of that is also available in your Telarus Partner Back Office. Today, we invite you to please log into our video chat and live chat platform where you can see the amazing information about to be presented. You'll also be able to submit questions and comments directly to Patrick and Koby during our Q&A session at the call's conclusion. Okay, a new year, another new Telarus supplier. We've been rolling them out each week, and today's is very different and yet extremely important in today's environment. We're very proud to announce Telarus' new partnership with Defendry. This is active shooter defense. They're an AI software technology which is designed to detect, deter, and report potential threats, including guns, masks, and intruders, all in just seconds. Their services include automatic visual threat detection, automatic lockdown, immediate human verification, emergency notifications. All of this provides a tactical advantage to first responders and expedited incident resolution. Serious stuff. This is serious technology. And today we have Skylar Stewart. He's the Senior Vice President at Defendry. He joins me now to help introduce this brand new partnership. Skylar, welcome to our Telarus Tuesday call. Glad to have you here.
Hey, thanks, Doug. Really appreciate it. Happy to be here. Yeah, we're definitely going to change the conversation than what you're used to out there in Telarus land today. So again, I'm Skylar Stewart. I'm the SVP of Partner Sales here at Defendry. And you know, today it truly marks, in my opinion, a key milestone within the partner community, not just for creating a new category within Telarus's portfolio, but bringing something to the partner community that's never been available before until now with what we've created with active shooter defense. And honestly, I truly wish we didn't have to create a product like this. But unfortunately, it's the sad reality that we live in with an epidemic going on right now with active shooters. I mean, for example, in 2019, there was more active shooter events than there were days in the year. And it continues to rise year over year. And it's time to make, an impact. And we said enough is enough. And I have two young boys that I, ship off to school every day. And the first thing that I think of is their safety, just like everybody else on this phone. So we really came up with the idea, what if we could see a gun, lock the doors, call the police, and alert the customer, all within seconds. And that's exactly what we created. So we've combined artificial intelligence with a powerful software platform, which is really the core of our product. So please join us tomorrow on our webinar, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into the solution and how we do this, and show you a live demo of our artificial intelligence in action so you can see how it works. So again, thank you everybody for your time, and hope to talk to everybody tomorrow.
Skylar, thanks for being here on the call today. This is one of those really important subjects that we have to deal with from time to time, and it's exciting that there is finally something on the market which can take a physical threat. And you mentioned guns, but we also talk about masks, we talk about intruders, other things that can be recognized by the artificial intelligence. And then there's the human part of it, which verifies the information, and all of these technologies that work together to both lock down a physical structure. You talk about bulletproof laminates that can be placed on glass to protect against unauthorized entry. There's a whole bunch of physical work that can be done here to protect against this very physical sort of a threat, but that involves artificial intelligence. So yeah, it's fascinating. It's kind of sad, as you say, that we have to go through this. But what an opportunity for businesses to be able to do something about this, where we felt so helpless for a while, and an opportunity for our partners to take this out and start that conversation as we talk about all the different types of security that are involved now. We can't allow physical security to not be part of the conversation. So I hope everybody will plan on joining tomorrow for the launch and training call. Wednesday the 29th, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Find out more about Defendry. You can go to their website at defendry.com. Very compelling videos and instruction there as well. Skylar, how long will the training take tomorrow?
It should take about 30 to 45 minutes. We're going to really go over kind of our holistic approach to this epidemic, and just like you mentioned, all the boxes we're trying to check. We can't check them all, but we're gonna try our hardest to really make an impact. So,
well, sounds great. We're already getting questions for you on the chat line, and I know there will be a lot of them that come in tomorrow. So, will it be interactive? Will folks be able to ask questions of you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great. Well, join us tomorrow. Thanks, Skylar, for being here. Known you for a long time, and we're happy to talk to you again in this context. It'll be a great presentation tomorrow. Thanks much.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, Telarus is wasting no time bringing our spectacular and transformative Telarus Innovation Conferences to partners around the country. Our first 3 conferences of 2020 are now set, and if you're in the area, please plan to join us for a day of training, networking, and activities that will transform your business. We will continue to give away big prizes at each event as well. They're valued at more than $5,000 at each session. Tuesday, February 11th, we will be in Orange County at the historic Nixon Library in Yorba Linda. By the way, Yorba doesn't mean anything. It's the last name of Bernardo Yorba, who originally owned the area. That's true. And then the Telarus Innovation Conference travels to Houston on Thursday, February 20th at the Astorian, and then to Columbus, Ohio on Thursday, February 27th. These are immersive technology training experiences featuring outstanding training and content from the Telarus team and from many industry experts. Join us and take advantage of these tremendous opportunities to enhance your expertise and to build your business at the Telarus Innovation Conference. A lot of other activities going on as well. You can see our full schedule of events with all of our upcoming opportunities and register or RSVP at Telarus.com events. Let's give out some recognition. Today we have 3 of our Telarus partners who've put up some of the top wins of the past weeks. In our 3rd place this week, we recognize Telarus partners Curtis Watkins and Anna Storman of CP23 Consulting. They're out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The CP23 team closed an extremely large sale of analog voice services from Fusion to a client in the property management industry. Fusion provides affordable phone lines for calling, faxing, alarms, elevators, and also provides the mobile-friendly cloud-based voice and UC systems businesses may need to leverage their existing infrastructure. CP23 is focused on the consultative process, helping clients through every step of the telecom evaluation and solution procurement. They represent clients in more than 30 states and in Canada as a powerful partner in meeting clients' telecom needs. Congratulations, CP23 Consulting, on this terrific Fusion sale. Taking the number 2 spot, Telarus recognizes and congratulates Gary Storm. He's the CEO and all of the team at VCOM Solutions in San Ramon, California, just outside San Francisco. VCOM is a Telarus Emerald partner and has just scored again, this time closing a fantastic sale of fiber Ethernet services from CenturyLink to a client providing energy-efficient solutions to customers in a wide variety of industries. CenturyLink securely links data centers, clouds, offices, branches, VPNs, and LANs in any configuration with dynamic flexibility and dedicated connections, all on CenturyLink's high-speed global enterprise network. VCOM Solutions is a cloud-based software and managed services company helping enterprises manage their IT spend from procure to pay. VCOM has identified the 9 challenges of IT, and they help IT managers conquer each one of them. Congratulations to the entire VCOM Solutions team on this phenomenal CenturyLink win. And taking the number 1 spot on this week's top sales leaderboard, Telarus congratulates Chris Corr. He's the president, and Scott Nason. They are the team at Cloud Solvers, LLC, out of Marietta, Georgia. The Cloud Solvers team posted a sensational sale of managed services from Splice Communications to a client in the waste management and recycling industry. Splice provides IT support, infrastructure management, telecom management, and customer support services, all with professionally certified technicians and highly credentialed systems engineers. Cloud Solvers helps mid-sized enterprises evaluate, select, and adopt IT infrastructure subscriptions and many other IT spend categories. This was a huge sale. Cloud Solvers' first appearance in the Telarus Top 3. We congratulate them and on this extraordinary managed services sale from Splice. Thanks, Cloud Solvers. What a great start to the new year. Thanks to all of our partners for continuing to trust Telarus with your business. So let's find out how to get the rest of you there as well. Here's this week's training calendar, a pair of excellent opportunities being featured on today's call as Telarus and our suppliers help build your business. First up, today, beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern, PowerNet will present special training on their data backup and disaster recovery solutions in honor of Data Backup Day. DR and backup have become absolutely necessary in today's business environment, and they can save clients thousands in dollars otherwise lost to these unforeseen events. Learn how to open DR discussions with your clients and why PowerNet should be part of your solutions portfolio. DR and backup solutions from PowerNet. That special training is today at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then tomorrow, as mentioned earlier, plan to join the official launch and training call for new Telarus supplier, Defendry, AI-based active shooter defense technology. Again, this is designed to detect, deter, and report potential threats. They recognize guns, masks, and intruders all in just seconds. Their services include automatic visual threat detection, automatic lockdown, immediate human verification, and emergency notifications. This gives a tactical advantage to first responders and an expedited incident resolution. Serious and timely technology. It's from Defendry. Please join us for that launch and training call tomorrow. The details and registration links for these and for many other live and recorded learning opportunities, yep, they're all in your Telarus back office at agent.telarus.com. So many valuable spiffs available to our Telarus partners in this new year. We try to pass along some of the best each week. Here are 3 you'll want to consider. First up, a Roaring into the 20s promotion from new Telarus supplier Peerless Network. You can earn a 5X MRC gift card when selling SIP and UCaaS services with Peerless. Now through March 31st, partners selling Peerless SIP and UCaaS sales to new customers on a 36-month term will earn that 5X MRC gift card. Find out why Telarus has partnered with new supplier Peerless Network and roar into the 20s with this tremendous 5X offer. Next, from 8x8, it's their Accelerate Plus spiff, with which you can earn up to 7X MRR. This is an amazing offer. 8x8's one platform solution gives you greater rewards. To earn that 7X MRR with 8x8, well, essentially a $1,000 MRR new customer 1-year deal is going to get you 2X. A 2-year deal is going to get 4X MRR. A 3-year deal gets 6X MRR. Simple, right? But if you add Contact Center on that 3-year deal, that 6X spiff becomes a 7X MRR spiff. You can take advantage of this offer on qualifying deals closed through March 2020. It is the Accelerate Plus spiff from 8x8. Communications transformed. Finally, a great one from BroadVoice. Warm up this winter with hot spiffs from BroadVoice. Through March 31st, when you sell Beehive Standard or Pro seats at standard rates on a 3-year term, you'll earn up to a 5X spiff, and there's no minimum to qualify for this deal. If you need to get creative, contact BroadVoice for special pricing. You'll still get a 4X spiff. 2X spiffs are available for SIP orders. We've even got a 1X spiff with free phones available on seats. That's how you warm up this winter with hot spiffs from BroadVoice. These and many more fantastic deals from our suppliers can all be found at promo.telarus.com. Well, as mentioned earlier, today's call features Telarus Co-Founder and Chief Product Officer Patrick Oborn. Patrick joined us last week for a very frank and open deep dive into the Telarus UCaaS and CCaaS portfolio. In addition to that available recording mentioned earlier, Patrick's also put that valuable information into a blog post, which partners can use to educate themselves on our suppliers, as well as to develop compelling sales discussions to conduct with your clients. You really should check that out. It's at telarus.com/resources. Today is part 2 of that presentation. Joining Patrick today is Koby Phillips, Telarus VP of Product Development for Cloud. Koby recently rejoined Telarus after having formerly been our #1 partner development manager here at Telarus, and a top performer everywhere else he's been in the past as well. Koby's here to help end users understand cloud and digital edge services, making our partners look good and helping those partners grow cloud within their base. Patrick and Koby together, 2 presenters. You only had to join the call once. That's a deal. Patrick, Koby, welcome to our Telarus Tuesday call. How you guys doing?
Fantastic. Thanks, Doug.
Great to have you here. We're going to be talking about some exciting stuff today. I'm going to throw it to you both.
Hey, Patrick, you on?
Patrick, do we have you on mute? It may take him just a second to get back on. But Koby, welcome to the call. We are really glad to have you back at Telarus. It's been a while since we were able to talk to you as regularly as we do now. But in your new role, you're going to be bringing all of the experience that you've garnered with Telarus and with your other organizations to help this digital edge and cloud function of the Telarus business.
That's correct, Doug. Super excited to be back. Specifically, oh yeah, there you are.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. I don't know why. But anyway, wasn't mine, and I promise. Same thing happened last week. Doug, it's a pleasure to be here. Koby, I'm really glad you're back. We're going to have a great conversation today. We have a lot to unpack. In fact, just in preparation for this call, Koby and I have been working on the last week. I personally have learned so much about where cloud is and where it's going, and we're so glad to have Koby back. with Telarus to really help champion this product mix, and also to really help our partners get deep into the conversations with their customers. Just in preparation for this, we have been doing a lot of research. I did this call myself last year because I didn't have Koby here to help me. And in the process of this call, we kind of talked about digital transformation, a transformation that we talked about when something like this. First you start with, and Telarus is a great case study for this. First, we start with a couple servers in our closet. That's our email server and our web server and our database server. And then we eventually say, you know what, we should probably put that in a co-location facility. You know what, let's actually put that in the cloud. And it was kind of this neat, orderly pathway that you took on what we call DX, or digital transformation. But man, that path, you tear up that plan, you throw it away. There's stuff on-prem, there's stuff in the cloud, there's public cloud, private cloud, and everything in between, with really IoT and remote edge computing, really just generating crap tons of data everywhere. And making sense of all of it is really what we're going to be talking about today. When Koby first got here, he immediately, his first item of business as president, as vice president of this organization, was to officially rename cloud and managed IT into digital edge and cloud computing. Koby, tell us a little bit about why it is digital edge and cloud computing and not cloud and managed IT.
Yeah, I wanted to specifically get the digital edge concept rolling here at Telarus, because I believe at the end of the day, it's all about the application and setting up the architecture within the customer's WAN network and in the cloud to make sure that we can get the end users to those applications in the most efficient manner. That's usually step one, right? It also opens the door to understanding how SD-WAN, which is a more known technology for a lot of our partners, can help set up the stage to have those cloud service conversations. So it was really all encompassing of that strategy that we wanted to get that name included into the title of what we're going to market with.
No, and that's exactly it, because now computing, the actual processing of data, it's happening everywhere. It used to be, like in the old days, pretty centralized, happen in one environment, and hey, let's put that environment in a bigger environment. Let's put that environment in not only a bigger environment, but an environment that's elastic and can scale. But now, man, we got, it's like, I kind of view it like the physical world. You have freeways with 7 lanes on each side. You have highways, you have side streets, you have all these different types of things. And you need each one of them in different types of scenarios. You're going from one state to another state, you probably want to be on an interstate. But when you want to get from one side of your city to the other side of your city, you probably want a regular road. And your needs as a driver of a car vary all of the time. But the similar thing is happening in the cloud. And again, the cloud is just the abstract thing. We can't see it. We can't see, ones and zeros that are getting generated. But now more and more, those are being generated all over the place. And ability for companies to process data. Because why is data so important? Data is important because it helps people make decisions in real time. Like you watch a football game and you see the quarterback in between plays overlooking at his Microsoft Surface tablet, right? He is getting data from what happened just minutes before so that he can make sure that when he goes back in the game, he's armed and ready to handle that situation. And that's kind of a real world example of what businesses do every day. Like if you're in an amusement park and you can sense and detect that one line is really getting backed up, you can help shift traffic to other places. Same thing like when I get my haircut. It tells me all of the haircut stores right now in real time, how many people are waiting in line at each of those haircut stores. So it's really, really cool because it helps businesses make more money and get people through. So number one, I just want to say kudos to the top sales of the week. Koby, I think it's ironic that today the top sell is a managed IT and cloud deal. So that was actually apropos. But
yeah,
what we want to do today is, I know, right? What we want to do today is step through the evolution of the environment and define some clear terms to get started. And then we're going to deep dive into the Telarus portfolio of how our existing family of service providers fits into all these different areas. So Koby, step us through just the different types of clouds. I mean, if we're talking about cloud computing and cloud storage and cloud everything else, each kind of cloud kind of has a definition. Step us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this diagram shows your traditional architecture, which could be, legacy data center type of environment or an on-prem environment for customers at a customer's office, as an example. The first cloud that really comes into the diagram is going to be your private clouds, which is generally dedicated to one tenant, sometimes a group of tenants, that's going to be managed in an offsite facility, either by a service company in most of our cases, or by a customer themselves. Yeah. The next cloud is going to be your public clouds, most notably AWS, Azure, Google, Alibaba are great examples of these. It's going to be shared environment where you can spin up compute, grab what you need, and spin it back down whenever you don't need it. So it gives you a lot of flexibility and elastic. Yeah, we're just going to go with flexibility, right? I'm not going to be able to say that before 10 o'clock this morning. So on my time.
Elasticity.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll try not to porky pig too many other words throughout the presentation here. The ability to utilize multiple clouds is not highlighted here, but in general terms, the multi-cloud environment is going to be a combination of clouds, but they're siloed. They're not necessarily connected to one another. Whenever you want to connect multiple clouds and or traditional infrastructure into some clouds, creates that hybrid cloud environment, which is really going to be a lot of the architecture that you'll see out there going forward. Is it's trying to find the right cloud for the right application at the right time is what we've been able to set ourselves up with in our architectural ability in the last few years. That's becoming more and more predominant.
Right. So we've got traditional infrastructure. We're all good with that. And we've got private cloud, which again is our stuff that lives in someone else's building, but there's no other tenants. We've got public cloud, which is multi-tenant outside of our control, and then hybrid, which you just mentioned, which is really orchestrating back and forth between them. Let's talk real fast about the different layers of the infrastructure pyramid, starting with the base layer, which is just infrastructure as a service. So we're going to talk about IaaS, infrastructure as a service, PaaS, a platform as a service, and SaaS, which is of course the software application as a service.
All right, yeah. So with IaaS, that's really going to be, as the slide highlights, going to be your network architects, infrastructure, your base layer to build upon, right? Then you got the PaaS environment, or as you lovingly just called it, PaaS. Go either way with that. And with that, you're going to that's where your app developers live, right? That's where things are getting built to be consumed, and that consumption happens at the SaaS layer. So that's where your end users. SaaS is going to be your longest standing cloud service type of application that's been utilized for years now. And then with the evolution of, private public cloud options, the IaaS and PaaS has been opened up for people to start building on themselves and create more and more. And that's the base layer architecture. There's a lot of ASs that have spun off of these three. And we'll dive into those in like our boot camp settings and things like that if they're of any consequence. But this is the baseline of the cloud service model.
Fantastic. And typically in our business, I think there's more money to be made on the infrastructure and platform side. On the SaaS side, the SaaS providers, they want their money. I think we can make some money by wrapping the managed element around the SaaS, right?
Yeah, in our particular space, you're not wrong there, but we sell SaaS services every single day, right? RingCentral can be considered a SaaS provider, any UC player, things of that nature, right? So we profit quite a bit off of SaaS platforms as well, but in the particular cloud architecture or conversations, that IaaS and PaaS environment is going to be a lot of the conversations that we have to get them to the SaaS platform in the most effective manner.
Perfect. So let's start at the bottom. Let's start with infrastructure. So the evolution of mission critical computing, we've hit on it a little bit here, where we started with the server in the closet, then we went to a secure data center, and then we got parts of the data center that are our own infrastructure, parts of the data center that's their infrastructure that they're renting to us, and then there's parts of the data center that are being rented to Amazon Web Services or Microsoft, where they're actually putting everybody on it. And these four elements. It's not necessarily an evolution at this point. Now it's pretty much a buffet, right? Because you're going to have elements of all four in just about, I was reading yesterday, over 70% of customers are going to have some combination of all four of these elements. And it just becomes a question of which workloads or which files you want to store where, depending on cost and reliability, correct?
Correct. And that's the fun part. Like you hit on it with, I think you said 70% that you read about yesterday. The technology continues to evolve. There's FAS now, right? Functionality as a service, where you can just take pieces of the PaaS layer and grab whatever you need to spin everything up, in particular as an app developer, as just one of the examples of some of the evolution that's happening in this space. But what it does is it gives that flexibility for companies to be able to come in, grab what they want, grab what they need, and not have to, extend a ton of capital in doing so, and gives them a lot of ability to continually keep up with technology and not be stuck and be able to pivot when needed. So that's the great overarching benefit, one of them for the cloud compute story as a whole.
All right, so let's just start with the data center and just, co-location 101, just talking about basic considerations that customers have used and continue to use in trying to locate a data center that makes sense, at least for their private cloud and their own private infrastructure needs. Step us through what the decision-making process looks like when, again, customers are looking to go colo.
Yeah, it can be a various amount of decision criteria that a customer looks at, right? It could be, generally does start with geographical for one reason or another. Either it's close to them or it's not close to them if they're trying to set up a DR environment or something of that nature. Also, they'll want to look at the ability to have their stuff secured, the connectivity options within the environment. Is it, what type of power grid is it on? Does it have sustainable backup? Is it, a green driven environment? So all of the basic type of elements. And then as we've matured and looked at, kind of going back to that hybrid cloud model, the connectivity to those clouds that reside in a lot of these data centers becomes more and more the conversation as well, because even though you're going to the cloud, something I always highlight is physics still matter. Proximity to those on-ramps to get you into those clouds generally will have a factor on your performance and your connectivity to them, especially if any workloads of consequences as for mission critical, data for those larger environments.
Right. So you hit on a couple things right there. Workloads of consequence, mission critical stuff versus stuff you just need to archive.
Yeah, I'm full of buzzwords this morning, so my apologies.
No, that's perfect. And then you also said on-ramp. And so we're going to look at public clouds as kind of like the interstate freeway, and you got to go on an on-ramp to get onto them. You got to get on there somehow. And we're going to talk in the next couple slides about this public cloud superhighway that's been built and how you use an on-ramp to get on and off. And these on-ramps exist in many of the traditional co-location providers that Telarus works with, and they also exist in other places. So let's talk about the colo providers that we work with. Just go through our quick provider family of colo.
Yeah, so these guys, all have a lot of meet all those criterias. We've got a mixture of different tiered data centers here, and in a deeper conversation, we can go in under which each tier means. We won't dive too deep into that at this point. But these guys offer a lot of geographical options for partners and their end users, both domestically and globally. So this is a great list of suppliers that can cover, pretty much anywhere that you need to have a data center around the world.
And Koby, where do partners go to just see where these data centers are physically located? Like, is there?
Yeah, we have a great tool in our Telarus toolkit there. I know that's near and dear to your heart as it is to mine. And the great thing about tools at Telarus that I've always come to love is our desire to innovate, to improve on those tools and on our processes in general to better serve our partners. And I can see that this serves a great need at this point. We'll continue to probably add some functionality to this, Patrick, as I'm sure as you and I work closer together as we continue to build on our practice here for both data center and cloud environments.
No, this is perfect. You know, and my new role this year, of course, as Chief Product Officer, I'm primarily tasked with building new tools for the partners, and of course, working with the subject matters like you, Koby. We're going to have a lot of good information right at our partners' fingertips, even more than we have today. So that's awesome. So again, from Flexential 365, DataBank, NTT, Cologix, the list goes on. We invite you to watch this presentation afterwards, and also if you need a copy of the deck, feel free to hit me up. I'd be happy to send it over. Let's talk a little bit about inter-cloud connectivity and what the public cloud looks like. These public clouds, just in just very quick explanation, are literally, I want to say millions, possibly billions of servers that these companies have built up. In fact, these guys were ordering so many servers from Dell that they just figured out it would be cheaper to design and build their own servers than to buy them from Dell. Like the data centers these people have built out, and the architecture, the patents that they've got in order to create these hyperscaled storage and computing shared environments is off the charts big. It's very hard for companies nowadays to break into this family, right? I mean, there's really 7 large ones: IBM, Google Cloud, Alibaba, Oracle, Azure for Microsoft, SAP HANA, and AWS. Very, very large clouds. I mean, it can't be understated how many people have tried to get into this club and have just failed just by the sheer scale.
Yeah, and you've even seen like Oracle and Microsoft, as an example, have now kind of built bridges on their backbones to connect to one another, even, you know, in their cloud architectures. SAP is very big in each one of the 4 public clouds: IBM, or sorry, not IBM, Google, AWS, Azure, and Alibaba. And then IBM, which is really kind of carved out their own niche, also plays within all of those environments for support and architectural conversations. So they've not only really kind of separated themselves, but have just continued to develop products that allow that separation to grow more and more, and will continue to be a major force in our technology, you know, spectrum. So we, you know, want to get closer to these guys and understand all that there is. So one of the major things that we want to start to get a better grasp on is, you know, we touched on it briefly about the on-ramps and how to connect to those. Well, a lot of our suppliers have been able to put together offerings to now allow multiple interconnect strategies, or as it's been termed by a couple of suppliers, an IOA, interconnected oriented architecture, that allows private layer 2 connectivity or layer 3, depending on the need, into multiple clouds from a single port. So you can now manage like an express route, direct connect. I think Alibaba calls it Express Connect, just kind of combined both of those words, and allows for you to manage those private connections into your environment to really take advantage of the consumption in the cloud compute in the most efficient manner, with deterministic latency, and also the ability to control your data to and from your end users. And
right. So there's really 2 ways to connect to your information, to your data, right? Number 1, layer 3. That's just IP through the internet. You can just go to the IBM cloud from your ISP, right? That comes with some security implications. It also comes with some delay and latency, like you just said. Then you could also connect to it layer 2, which is, you know, you're on a local area network, so you connect to your data center here locally, but then your data center has a cloud connectivity. It's really weird to think about, you know, we're so good at physical connectivity, but cloud connectivity, it's like an ISP for an ISP. And that's really where the Equinix and the Megaports of the world kind of sit at the middle. Now, we didn't put Equinix and Megaport at the center of this slide so that you think that they are the be-all, end-all of cloud connectivity.
No, they're just,
we put them there merely to illustrate the types of companies that fit within that realm, correct?
Yeah, that's a great point. There are, and on the next slide, we'll highlight some additional carriers that house these on-ramps available for various different cloud connectivity into them, and have created these fabrics that allow for you to, like I said, connect to more than one cloud off of one single port. The nice part about that is, in most cases, these are also flexible connections, or dynamic in nature where you can spin it up and spin it down when needed to kind of match the cloud compute model. And so you get a lot of end user clients that are drawn to that as they maybe just have a project and they need to get an express route for a short period of time to do a data dump or a migration. And then once that's done, they can connect over the internet and not really need the cost of the express route anymore, and they can spin it back down. So it gives you a lot of flexibility with these type of products.
Excellent. Well, let's go to the next slide and dive a little deeper. We've talked a little bit about these massive public clouds. Talk to us a little bit about the on-ramps and who out there we consider an on-ramp, and what the definition of an on-ramp is for you, why some of the providers on this slide are listed in the on-ramp category or not.
Yeah, so an on-ramp is generally where a cloud is going to house their ability to connect to them physically, and to in that layer 2, layer 3 model to be consumed over that private transportation link, right? So there are various on-ramps throughout the globe in different data centers. Microsoft houses multiple on-ramps, Google, AWS. And so as we put those in there, one that I failed to move into the on-ramp section is QTS, which as an example has an AWS on-ramp in Chicago that'll get them to the AWS Central and AWS West East regions, my apologies. And so what that'll do, and that kind of highlights another point, knowing where the regions that they're connecting to obviously is going to be, going back to that geographical point, paramount information to know. And so we're able to help guide that. We have a tool set that can help provide the right data center and the right connectivity links for the end user to build out that architecture with. And then kind of in the bottom is we listed out, these are all the different providers that have a variation of these connections, either in a resell model or in like a megaport architecture where they're extended into their data centers to extend the connectivity from these on-ramps into those data centers, almost like an extension cord. You might pay a slight latency penalty, but in often cases, it will save the customer from having to do a data center move, or the data center costing might be a little bit more price effective for them, et cetera. There could be various different reasons, and Megaport's been very successful in that architectural play. And then kind of rounding out the connectivity to the public clouds, you have, traditional connectivity from, AT&T, CenturyLink, Comcast of the world that have built products to also, in many cases, be one-to-many as far as cloud connections. AT&T has a great product called AT&T NetBond that you can get into, and that'll get you into a multitude of different cloud options and SaaS platforms.
Thanks, Koby. It seems to me like that Equinix and Megaport are playing kind of a leadership role in the on-ramp market. Talk to us a little bit about what the Telarus plan is for Equinix and Megaport. It's probably the million-dollar question.
I'll just leave it kind of vague at this point. Equinix and Megaport are both great suppliers, and we'd love to add them to our portfolio of our existing tremendous supplier options that we have in this space. And we will
are there
a ton of effort.
Are there indirect routes to get those products, I guess is my question.
Yeah, there are, absolutely. So you can take like AT&T, just as another example, has a great resell motion with Equinix, as I believe CenturyLink also does now, where they can actually paper Equinix base and power and the Cloud Exchange Fabric onto their contracts. Rackspace, Synoptech, ZenLayer also have these type of options as well.
Perfect.
And then
thank you. This slide right here is probably my favorite in the whole presentation. So if you are going to print anything out and put it in your cube, this is probably the one that you want to print out, where this really kind of shows you how to get from A to B. Let's move on real fast and get into our private cloud providers, the people who both provide, brick and mortar private cloud, and other people who you can spin up private cloud in kind of a more virtual environment, which is, the providers we've listed here on the left. So again, the left box, the virtual providers, the right box, you own brick and mortar, and also offer your own cloud.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it, right? You've got the private managed on the left there that will come into different spaces to offer that service, and then the right where it's a in-house specialty that they have in their own brick and mortar buildings.
That's awesome. So again, a lot of people on the private cloud list. Also, the cloud application providers. This is where we go and we get to, great, you got infrastructure, but do you have anything that runs on that infrastructure that could be of value to us? I mean, I can't tell you how many times Telarus, we get questions every day saying, hey, can you help me get a Salesforce license, or can you help me get SAP or some ERP software, right? Talk to us a little bit about the cloud application providers and kind of how they play in that arena.
Yeah, so as it sets, in today's environment, getting commissioned on the licenses is still the, kind of the missing element. There are some exceptions to this. Managed Solutions, as an example, does pay out on some Azure license, Azure consumptions and Microsoft licenses in that environment. There's various different suppliers like Rackspace that'll pay out on all O365 licenses, and of course GoTo in the commissionable piece on LastPass. But in whole, there's still a pretty big gap there. And so really what we need to focus on in these type of environments is the ability to set up the need for the managed services of those cloud applications. And that's the commissionable piece for our partners there. So it's going to be the management of these environments and the migration and so on and so forth. That's going to be the area that we should focus our conversations on with our end users.
Right, and I think that there just may be a tool coming here in the future that actually allows you, the Telarus partner, to say, I need a solution provider for LastPass. Where do I go? I need somebody who can manage an AWS or hosted Exchange in Microsoft. Like, where do I go for that? Or SAP ERPs, and we can go all the way down from CRMs to EMRs, as a matter of fact, in addition to ERP. So there's a lot of very specific cloud applications. In fact, just like 30 minutes ago, somebody just sent a GLIP message to our engineering room asking for one of these managed offerings. So very, very, very cool. Let's talk a little bit about not just cloud, but the migration to the cloud. What providers do we have here when a customer, a CIO, or IT manager raises his hand and says, hey, I want to do a digital transformation. I need to move data from here to here. I've got all my data here. I need to put it in 3 different clouds. Who are the U-Haul companies, so to speak, of cloud migration?
Yeah, so we've got a pretty good bench of players here that can step in and handle a lift and shift type of migration, as well as ongoing management and support of those environments. So you'll have, an IBM that has robust specialty groups, as large as they are in multiple different clouds. You've got a Greenhouse Data who really just specializes and focuses in that Microsoft environment more than anywhere else, as does Managed Solution. Rackspace is another great player for multiple different fits, whether it be a combination of, let me get some stuff into AWS, and I'd like to have a little bit of my own private cloud offering. And so there's a lot of these guys can come in and customize a solution. They all will have a good tool set to analyze and figure out what applications are the best to move, because not all applications are built the same when it comes to clouds, right? And some of them might not even need to go into the cloud at all, and they can help set up a true hybrid environment that still involves some prem-based solutions. So
right. And we've got a couple of new logos on this slide. Talk to us a little bit about ZenLayer and Netrio. I think we've been partnered with them for maybe 2 months, maybe 1 month. Very, very new. Why? What did we see in those two to push this over the edge and make a sign on a dotted line with them?
So ZenLayer is another great option that has global connectivity. They actually have their own flavor of SD-WAN to handle the links to and from the customer's prem and remote environments to the clouds. They do some bare metal as a service, which we'll kind of touch on here in a little bit as well. And with Netrio, still diving in deep, but on top of their ability to manage these cloud environments, also have a really robust security solution that that Dom will highlight, I'm sure, whenever you guys host this call on the security spectrum. And so I've been real excited to see what that, how that all packages in together. As others on this slide definitely come with the security play, but Metrio, that's something that really caught my attention there.
Yeah, it's really funny because this slide 12 months ago, I think had 5 logos on it, and now we're sitting at 13. So the profile, the practice is growing rapidly, and thanks to you, Koby, for leading the charge and making sure we've got the providers in here. Another example of a slide that was maybe half of this size last year is our IaaS, or infrastructure as a service providers. Man, these guys have really come on the scene. I mean, you got some first timers on here that we've never had before. Like, for example, INAP and Claro are. I had to make myself say Claro because I say Claro because I speak Spanish, but Claro, the English version. 365 data centers, effortless. Like, a lot of these companies have really moved into this space and done a good job. I mean, I keep seeing AT&T on just about every slide in here. It feels like IBM, I think, is one of the most well-kept secrets inside Telarus. I mean, the amount of services in this area that IBM offers is staggering. People typically just think of them for Watson and their AI, but man, their infrastructure services are just premier.
Yeah, those guys, along with Synoptech, almost fill out every single category that we're going to cover today, right?
Yeah.
And the nice part about these IaaS offerings, once again, it just allows that flexibility for customer to come in and grab what they need, spin it up, no big capital expenditure, and really stay fluid. And I'm trying to find different adjectives instead of saying agile and flexible so many times, but that'll be something that you'll hear me continually repeat is, as technology continues to emerge, just the ability to capture what you need and pivot to the best of breed available to you. And IaaS is a great platform to start with to be able to do that.
So you talk about flexibility, kind of a virtual nature. Let's talk a little bit about customers that, and there still are some, and there's going to be some forever. It's kind of like your old phone systems. They're going to be around forever in POTS lines. There are people that want bare metal. Talk a little bit about the difference between IaaS, like infrastructure as a service, like infrastructure on demand, versus like physical infrastructure.
Yeah, there's there's some that'll argue they're the same, right? Some that don't. I decided to go ahead and separate them in our categories here. Is a lot of people ask what the difference is. They both will gain an access to a server that you can install and run, whatever you want to utilize on it. IaaS generally will give you pieces of that, where bare metal generally is going to give you the 10 right up to the user interface that you can then, utilize and like optimize to a performance at a granular level that you're just not going to be able to do with an IaaS. So it just gives the end user more control of that virtual environment, if you will. And so it's actually picking up more and more steam that companies are wanting to go to this model over an IaaS in a lot of cases to gain that control over the environment even more so.
Fantastic. Now let's go a little bit into the virtual world again, and the product category that really has taken a long time to gain traction, in my opinion, and that's the desktop as a service and the virtual desktop providers. Talk a little bit about how we've seen a little bit of a resurgence in this category. And again, this is another category where we've, I think, doubled the number of suppliers playing in this space in the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the emergence of the remote worker over the last few years, desktop as a service, or also known as fully managed VDI, becomes more and more relevant in those conversations. So it just allows an easier, a workforce easier access to their needs of data and applications. So it allows you the ability to quickly spin up a new user. It also gives the ability to control if somebody leaves an organization, to quickly terminate their user rights and get them off of your services. So it gives the company a lot more control of their environment, even though it's virtualized. There's various different platforms that people are going to utilize here: VMware, Citrix, or some of the traditional ones. We have Azure VDI, coming up that will be a big monster in this space, and we've got suppliers that are going to have a platform built off of that as well. So look for continual updates and changes to this environment, but this is something that I will expect to continue to expand here in the very near future.
That's fantastic. I think of that more of a cover your legal butt category than actually a technical category, because again, people that are on these platforms are places where they just can't give physical access of their data to thousands of users. With VDI, you're looking at the data through this pane of glass, but you really are not accessing the data. It's super easy on access control too. An employee leaves, you just cut off their access. You don't have to worry about wiping their computer, wiping their phone, because they never actually had data. They could only see the data.
Yeah, and I mean, just think about the ability to be able to load up, an engineer with a certain subset of application access. They're going to need they have different needs than somebody else that's going to be maybe in HR or in accounting, right? And so to be able to put together profiles for employees to give them the best environment to get them what they need is obviously going to be very important for companies as we go forward. So this is a great platform to do so.
Excellent. Now let's get into an area of cloud that I think is an area that we're probably most familiar with. I think most of us cut our teeth on cloud by talking about business continuity and disaster recovery. I mean, even from a long time ago, it's like, hey, you can't just have all your data on your hard drive. Like that thing goes, where are you going to go and recover your documents? But now with the advent of all of the different ransomware platforms and cyber hacking, the importance of business continuity isn't necessarily around a physical device malfunction or anything of that nature. It's literally around, you have to have this function in today's economy, because when your data is encrypted, but man, your last backup was an hour ago, like you are not gonna have any problems. I mean, just with all the different phishing attacks and everything else, the human error element of being in business is pretty much a guaranteed ticket that your data will be compromised at some point. The question is, and this will be on a future call, how do you detect it and how do you remedy that? The biggest prescription drug for remedying one of those oopsies is having a great DR plan, not only backing your data up, but the business continuity aspect, which is the time in which it takes you to get back on your feet, right, Koby?
Yeah, I mean, let's think about some of the greatest value that the company is starting to house, which is data, right? I mean, we'll take Caterpillar as a great example. They make bulldozers, but now they refer to them as mobile data units. There's 22,000 IoT sensors on one of those land movers, sending data to and from their cloud environments, housing it, analyzing it, giving it back to them, and they're able to take that data. It becomes extremely valuable. There's oil and gas companies that are sitting on what they refer to as billions of dollars worth of data analytics, and all that's at risk if you don't have a good DR strategy and a business continuity plan in case something does happen. So to protect your a lot of companies' most valuable assets, which is that data, you do need to have a solid plan in place. And I'd say it's paramount. I believe Doug mentioned today was National Data Backup Day. Doug, I don't know if I messed that up or not, but kind of perfect time to really highlight this particular product set.
Yeah, that's awesome. Talk a little bit about how they differ from each other. I mean, not all.
Actually, they don't. I mean, business continuity is generally going to be a company's bigger overarching plan, even outside of technology. If something is to hit, disaster recovery or DRAS is really going to be specifically spoken to about the technology and the data backup and recovery. So I wanted to make sure and highlight the business continuity. Sometimes it does get referred to as BCAS, business continuity as a service, but in all reality, we're talking about the same thing. They're just kind of under different names. Just to throw more complexity into the cloud space. We'll start calling things by the same name or different names.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for that explanation, Koby. And then one of the areas that I'm really excited about is the managed IT as a service. This is an area where your traditional telco agents can really get in on the MSP space and get our slice of that pie. We talk about MSPs and how they leverage master agents, and we can kind of fill in the gaps around them. on everything from CCAS, network connectivity, SD-WAN, everything else, but they want to hold on to the managed IT. That's great. But when we're talking to a person who doesn't have a staff of engineers that can roll out and help people fix stuff, this is an area that we can come in. And I mean, I've seen many examples of agents having a conversation, not just around network or UCAS or customer experience, any of that stuff. I've heard them literally say, are you happy? Do you have an MSP, yes or no? Okay. Are you happy with the support you're getting? Because what I've been seeing in my experience with dealing with partners is that MSPs now are forced into a situation where they have to grow big or they have to grow wide. And so a lot of them are caught in that middle ground where they're pretty big, but they're not really financially super secure. And so what they're doing is they're focusing all their time and attention on their big customers, and their medium and small customers are kind of like, I don't know, stepchildren at this point, like just kind of orphaned. They get a bill from them, right? And they're still billing full boat, but they're not getting a lot of TLC. And I'm seeing telco agents come in and say, you know what, I can get you an MSP that will actually give a crap about you, that actually give you some focus and really help you. And this is where Telarus comes in with our managed IT as a service portfolio, can really help you conquer that share and literally kick out the incumbent and take over that part of the account.
Yeah, I mean, managed IT, ITO, this, you know, and it could be small parts for companies too, right? Where they have a limited IT staff and they want to house, or they want to splice off some of those responsibilities to an organization like that's listed here, just handle portions of their managed or their IT responsibilities. So it gives them some flexibility. They can obviously come in and take over everything or portions of that. And so really it opens up that conversation for our partners to be able to go in and be problem solvers in a lot of different ways versus just throwing a product at someone. We can actually throw, you know, the ability to house some specialists in different areas to support their end user customers.
Right. And we're really pressed for time, Koby, but just tell us real fast, managed IT as a service. What is that? Is it like fixing printers, or like, well, what's the range of services?
Yeah, I mean, you got everything from handling, you know, software patches, sometimes device support. It varies. I mean, it can really be whatever the customer is looking. It's going to be, you know, maintenance. It can be, you know, maintenance monitoring. The slide actually says it perfect. Maintenance, monitoring, and management. And all that those encompass in environment is what these guys will bring to the table for their end users.
I mean, everything from straight up to setting up an internal IT help desk for the companies, right? I mean, that they can use internally.
Yep, yeah. Ticketing, et cetera.
Awesome. And then we're going to finish out with kind of a weird one, right? We've been talking about stuff you probably expected, but we're going to talk about physical security as a service, because this is a managed service where companies can come in, set up IP cameras, set up video surveillance, set up automatic door locks and everything else, because it's not your, you know, hey, we're your IT team. It's more your physical security. And we've got a couple of providers that do really well there.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you've highlighted them here with Comcore and Year 6, really specialize in this space, and just adds that additional element of solution to be able to provide to our end users for our partners.
Awesome. So you guys, thanks for hanging in with Koby and I, going through all of these different product portfolios and sub-product portfolios. We think hopefully at the end of this, you've at least got some background on how all this is working. Let's talk about some of the resources you have here at Telarus to extract this information. If you don't want to go back and watch this call again and again, which we totally get if you don't, there are a couple of tools that we have now. Number one of them is the product matrix. And I put a 1.0 here specifically so that you know that Koby and I are working on 2.0 as we speak. There's a lot of good information here, though, to get you started. A lot of the things that we talked about today are subcategorized. And again, this is not a static matrix. You literally, don't forget, you can click on each of the different features you're looking for, and the providers that do not offer that feature will drop off. This is a dynamically generated matrix. It's available both in the Telarus back office as well as on your mobile app. Additionally, Koby, you're going to be on the road. You have a very busy schedule coming up with boot camps and things coming up. I've taken the time to actually build out a schedule, so you can see here on this next slide all of the different places you're going to be: Boston, Tampa, Raleigh, Salt Lake City. All of these locations are available online at Telarus.com/events. And according to my math, that's 24, my friend. I hope you have your frequent flyer number ready to go.
Yeah, I'm really glad I did the clear a couple of days ago. So it saved me a ton of time at the airport.
So talk to us just in a couple seconds. What can people expect when they attend a Digital Edge and Cloud Bootcamp? How is that different a little bit from today's call? And what happens in these real world settings?
Yeah, so we'll be joined by some of our great suppliers. We will incorporate SD-WAN conversations into these boot camps to really understand how to set up a customer's architecture from the network standpoint to best utilize the cloud space, right? Because if how you're getting to the cloud is just as important as what you're doing there. And so we want to really hit on that element as well. And so we'll have our engineering resources lead some of these, and we're all come in and just support them and vice versa. So you'll see that. You'll see some great case studies on some specific industries, as well as some panels to really kind of do a deep dive into these technologies.
That's awesome. And I hope you also have your passport ready, because I notice you are on May 19th headed to Toronto, and then on November 19th headed to Vancouver, Canada. So say hi to Brian Oshab and our wonderful crew up there. And then last but not least, let's talk about just the resources that our partners have available to us just day in and day out between you and the engineering team.
Yeah, so Josh Lopresto's done a fantastic job with the engineering group, and they have a robust skill set. Everybody's taken on a SME of a different subset to be that resource for the team. I know we're going to continue to grow this team over the next in 2020, and those guys are always available, as am I, to try to support and help in any way possible.
That's awesome. And I'm just looking here at the real-time chat. Zachary, my friend out in Lakewood, New Jersey, has let us know that Defendry should be on this list. Defendry that we just heard from before then on the physical security. Defendry not only will watch your security, but they'll do something about it, which I think is super cool. I think one of the coolest products Telarus has ever added. Just real fast to give you a quick, I've got cybersecurity on here for next week. Correction, our VP of cybersecurity, Koby's counterpart in the cybersecurity department, was called into a Fortune 100 account yesterday, and guess when their appointment is? It's next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, I will be talking about network and SD-WAN. So very deep dive. It's something that we all know a lot about. There's not going to be a lot of questions, probably not so much as there was today. This is really a pioneering and really advanced area that we talked about today. So Koby, I want to thank you for that. I'm going to be reviewing, again, like I said, the providers of next generation WAN and SD-WAN services. So we'll get into a little more of the SD-WAN element of the conversation. But Koby, I just want to thank you today for being here, for coming back to Telarus, for bringing all your experience with Equinix and all the great stories and learnings that you developed there back to Telarus, so that our partners can engage you and the sales engineering team and attend these boot camps so that they can deepen their knowledge. Because I think in the world where we're going to be generating, terabytes and exabytes of data daily, because we're monitoring and measuring everything in society, right? You sent me a video, basically a kind of a sci-fi video a little bit about a person walking through daily life with like the equivalent of Google glasses on, being able to recognize people, being able to recognize bus schedules, recognize everything. And that takes so much edge computing that being on the digital edge and understanding how the clouds work is really going to be key to our trusted advisors, to our partners, really playing a key role in their customers' environments going forward. So Koby, thank you again so much for being here. Thank you for your time today. Doug, let's go ahead and answer or open it up to a few questions, and we'll let everyone get back to their day.
I think, Patrick, we got most of them already handled on the line, but there were a couple of questions about whether or not any of those managed IT providers that we discussed specifically target the SMB market, or if many of the carriers that we're discussing are more attuned to the enterprise market. How can we help narrow down for the partners which market is most applicable to which of our suppliers?
great question. That's something that we'll be diving into and continuing to, separate out specialty practices within our supplier portfolio. That'll be coming in time. If there's any specific needs in that space, let me know, and we'll get you to the right place in the meantime while we're building that out.
Yeah, Zachary, I think the nature of that question probably evolved around Office Depot last year and how they were kind of offering SMB solutions to everybody. Ultimately, the model got broken, and we pulled them from the lineup. And so probably the question is, who do I go to now that host or managed solutions is gone as a part of the Office Depot offering? So I think, Koby, we have people that can do small businesses, right, and put them on.
We absolutely do. What I would say is, any of those opportunities, let's get them in front of our SE group or myself, or we'll start, as always, start with your PSM and SPDM for their guidance as well. And then we'll get you over to the right suppliers, given the right opportunity set. So we'll absolutely help kind of vet out that, and then, continue to grow our tool set so you have quick access to that information without having to ping anybody. But at this point in time, we'll absolutely, do that format.
Fantastic.
Guys, one of the trends that we see over and over in our business is the move away from physical facilities, physical equipment, physical things to a virtual environment. And Zachary helped us define, and Patrick, you put the definition on there. We talk about bare metal service providers, and those are the rentable physical machines, if you will, that can be used when we talk about cloud computing. Koby, Patrick, just quickly, what do you think are the pros and cons of this move that we're seeing to bare metal providers?
I mean, the pros is it gives the customer, like I said, that the ability to house, every aspect of the server. The cons is, you pay for that as well, right? And while most of the bare metal servers will have an architecture that'll allow for a backup, you would really want to dive in deep and understand how that server is being maintained and everything of that nature, just to make sure that it's the right service offering, which, like I said, our suppliers are going to absolutely be able to provide that information and feedback to their given the opportunity.
Zachary just added one other note on there, and maybe it's a good distinction to make. What is exactly the difference between what we would call private cloud and these bare metal types of providers?
Private cloud's generally going to be managed solutions within, utilizing those servers. There's going to be some additional management of items on top of that for infrastructure and maintenance and ongoing support and various different products, where bare metal is going to be access to the server, once again, with the end user carrying the burden of doing whatever they need to do on that server.
Koby, and I think just adding to that, I think another kind of difference is the virtual involves VMware. And what VMware does is it takes information and spreads it out across many, many physical devices. So one device goes down, fully redundant, you pop it out, pop another one in, and all of your data lives on it's kind of like blockchain in a lot of ways. All of your data lives kind of everywhere. And then the VMware is kind of your interface to go and get it. And then everything that happens behind the scenes on the physical layer really isn't the end user's like prerogative, right? But bare metal, you do have the prerogative of physical resources where, like you said, Koby, you can go in and control those. You lose that control when you go virtual, but you do gain other advantages just in terms of flexibility and redundancy.
Yeah, I think the highlight there, for Zach and anyone else, kind of that question is it allows, multiple options given whatever situation, and it doesn't have to be all one or all the other. A lot of customers utilize bare metal and IaaS and private public cloud all in their same environment. So it's really given whatever they need to be able to utilize at that time. So it's not an all or nothing one way or the other, which is really one of the, like I said, overarching benefits of setting up a customer with a cloud environment is that flexibility and agility. I'll say it one more time before the end of the call.
Koby, there's one thing, there's an article you sent me in preparation for this call that I just want to ask you about. And it brought up the question of, we haven't even talked about it today, pricing and the ability to partition different storage needs and also different workloads according to, the business importance and how the business, similar to the way we in real life, we have stuff we don't want to throw away. We go and pay a really cheap, storage unit down the road to just house our stuff in case we ever need it. And then there's other things that we pay a lot more money for, like our office space, for example, where we're coming and going every day and getting work done. The cost per square foot is vastly higher. And the companies now have to kind of figure out what workloads they want to go where, right? And how much they're going to pay, because the faster, more geographic, the better performance that you get, they pay for that. So if they just look at their architecture as one global thing, they're going to be overpaying for some stuff and underpaying and getting crappy performance for the stuff they really need. So they really have to slice it up and make it a kind of a modular approach to both optimize performance, but also price.
Yeah, it's, be optimizing all the time, I think, is a good motto that a lot of companies are starting to take on when it comes to their technology, services, I guess would be a good way to put that. The idea there is, like, you kind of hit on it. We'll take data storage as an example. If you haven't touched something in over 12 months, it's not something that you need to have highly accessible. Can you move that to a cold storage platform and save, 60% over what you're going to be paying in that flash array? So just as an example of stuff to look at whenever it comes to this is definitely something just past the architecture piece, but it really hits on what you're saying and what that article alluded to as well.
One last question, Koby, that I'm going to give to you. Who is the right point of contact at the customers and the companies our partners are working with? Who do they want to be having these conversations with? Who gives a crap is my question.
Well, the conversations vary, as do the end user, point of contact. So we'll kind of touch on that a bit in our boot camps as well. You're going to basically be able to highlight different aspects of the benefits to different users, right? You're not going to go to a devs op guy and talk about the money that you're going to save necessarily here and there, unless he's in charge of the budget. That's going to be the CFO. But as technology becomes more and more paramount, or not more and more, is amazingly paramount in everybody's environment, starting to put your end user customers in a place to turn an IT service into a cost neutral or even a profit center in a lot of different ways becomes paramount. And those conversations are going to be geared more towards that C-level, how things work and the functionality and the benefits of that are really going to be down at that IT director and below user level, the guys that are actually having to come in and utilize the technology that is going to be put into place. So
right.
That's
I think each IT director or CIO, they really have two cloud initiatives. Number one, infrastructure. It just has to work just so we can function. But the other one is actually offense, right? How do we leverage the infrastructure to make money, to get more customers, to use all that data our IoT devices and all these other devices are generating for us to make better decisions? And I think a lot of them are, they look at the infrastructure side as kind of a stepchild, like it's something we need to do. We're not excited about it. And it's really kind of just a cost center. And if you as the trusted advisor can get in and consult and bring in Koby and the rest of the team to help them figure out a plan to take some of that stuff off their own plate and bring in some of the managed providers that Telarus offers, so they can focus their limited IT resources on the things that make them money, I think that overarching strategy still holds. In fact, probably holds more than any other strategy in this side of the business. Yeah,
and just know that these companies are looking for someone to come in and give them guidance too. I mean, I've been in rooms with large company CIOs where they've basically stated, "Hey, we're a 100-year-old company with 50-year-old applications. We don't know what to do to make a digital transformation or how these applications are going to work in the cloud," as an example, right? And so they're looking for someone to come in and help them with a roadmap. And, not to steal away from some of our themes for the year, but almost be a technology Sherpa and guide them through the different, different checkpoints on this digital transformation roadmap. So there's a lot of conversations to be had here. There's a lot of room to go and capitalize for our partners and expand into their existing customer base as these conversations are becoming relevant, no matter if it's an SMB client all the way up to, your Fortune, 500 companies.
Awesome. Well, Koby, thanks so much for your time today. And everybody's still on this call, an hour and 20 minutes in. Just want to thank you personally. We appreciate your time and attention. We hope that some of the topics that we covered today help to educate you, and maybe they confused you. If that's the case, please get in contact with Koby and his group. We want to make sure that you've got the weapons that you need to go do battle out there. And then last but not least, if you want to learn more, I highly recommend you not only attend a boot camp that is on that schedule. If you find that, hey, maybe that boot camp's not exactly in your exact city, I highly implore you and suggest that you jump on a plane and go. Investing in your education is really what your customers are looking to you for. They're looking for education. They're looking for you to come in and be the person that knows how to handle it, or at least knows somebody who knows how to handle it. So thank you so much for your time, Doug. We'll go ahead and toss it back over to you for final thought.
Could not agree more, you guys. That education is worth everything. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Koby. Outstanding presentation today. Terrific discussion which followed. If you had a question that wasn't answered today, or if you have a suggestion about something you'd like to see on the call, please send that to marketing@telarus.com. We will make sure you get a response and incorporate that into what we do here. Join us next week, as Patrick mentioned. He will be back on the call talking about network and SD-WAN providers, and we will postpone Dom to a later date, but you'll want to be back here to talk about security. Huge issue in today's marketplace. We will be back here again next Tuesday. Until then, I'm Doug Miller, the voice of Telarus. It's National Data Privacy Day. For heaven's sake, go out and help somebody change a password. Have a great selling week, everybody.